Listening to the words of the Grand Elder in front of him, Xiao Yan's heart also stirred. The lower-level realms have a very limited capacity, naturally not as capable as the top realms of the Great Thousand Worlds. Therefore, the sacred flame ember likely scattered across the Do-Chi continent, and over countless years of erosion, it split into 22 types of exotic flames. The Emperor Flame Ring should contain the burning decree technique. However, over the passage of time, it was weathered and eroded, turning into the remnants of the burning decree, which then fell into certain caves in the lower realms. Later, it was collected by the likes of Yao Lao and others. This also led to the emergence of people like you, Tuasha Ancient Emperor, and myself, and the Golden Dragon King, who once guarded the spatial passage of the Do-Chi continent, probably did so to protect the Do-Chi continent from impending disasters. Thinking of this, a warm current surged in Xiao Yan's heart. But what exactly was the reason that these powerful beings made such preparations in advance? Or perhaps there was a supreme existence capable of threatening their lives? The question still lingered in his mind. So, there is such profound mystery in this, but I still have a question, Senior. How did you fall? Is there a way to revive? Xiao Yan felt a sense of relief in his heart. It seemed that matters like the exotic flames of the Do-Chi continent and others were the secret moves of these peak experts. For a moment, he was both angry and fond, but as for why someone like Xiao Tianyuan, a powerful being beyond the pinnacle of reincarnation, would fall, leaving only a fragment of power to guard the flame god cauldron, the lord of the center of the human realm? Or perhaps the leader of the outer realms? Such a grandeur, if it could be revived, would probably forget it. Perhaps it was the so-called battle god Calamity, or maybe someone ambushed me, but it definitely wasn't the lord of the human realm or the leader of the outer realms. As for our strength, we were all evenly matched. As for resurrection, even the revival power of the angel kingdom cannot bring me back. In my blurry memory, it seems that when I fell, I was sealed by some special power. Xiao Tianyuan shook his head. His memories of these ancient events were already very vague. This place was left behind, merely to pass down the flame god cauldron. The power of this divine artifact is so formidable that even the peak experts of the Great Thousand Worlds find it troublesome. Everyone says that the flame god cauldron was created by me, but I don't have the ability to do so. I, along with the Holy King and others, are merely the guardians of the flame god cauldron. The true creator of it might have been a genuine divine being. After we obtained this divine artifact, although it had 35 holy rune holes, it was incomplete. Over countless years, the combined strength of countless powerful beings was needed to gather the holy runes and restore its original brilliance. Xiao Tianyuan tried hard to recall, as if he were trying to reveal everything left in his memory. Xiao Yan, for a moment, also felt helpless. Prepare yourself. The remaining power can't help you much. I'm afraid it can only enlighten you and allow you to fully control the fourth realm of the burning decree and the flame god cauldron. As for the later realms, each step is harder than the last. It will likely depend on your luck. Please proceed, Senior. Hearing this, Xiao Yan's mind suddenly stirred. He feared that from this point onward, everything would have to rely on himself. Are you ready? Then let's begin. This world can only be guarded by you. Xiao Tianyuan's body began to disappear, and endless black holes surged out. His eyes were fixed on Xiao Yan. 1, 2, 3. Is this the sixth life? However, just as the latter began to manipulate the power of heaven and earth, Xiao Yan strangely noticed a faint lotus mark engraved on the back of this person. The lotus had 6 petals, each containing endless mysteries. Perhaps even this person himself didn't know about such a subtle matter. He was actually the sixth life of that being? A wave of horror surged in his heart, but Xiao Yan didn't speak. Such matters were too obscure and vast. This is a rather superior flame god array. It will help you control the flame god cauldron and the burning decree. As for those terrifying combat techniques, due to some special reasons, I cannot grant them to you. You will have to find them on your own. As he spoke, Xiao Tianyuan's body began to flicker with countless dazzling flames. Soon, the entire world was completely filled with sacred power. Within the fire god array, the flame god cauldron, now reduced to the size of a palm, stood quietly, as if containing infinite danger. Boom! Countless molten flames surged like tidal waves, rapidly rushing toward Xiao Yan's body. His limbs, bones, and soul sea were instantly filled, and a fierce, beast-like savagery appeared in his eyes. The searing, burning sensation made Xiao Yan's entire body feel as if it was being torn apart by the flames. Pain that penetrated to the bone and into the soul. Burning decree, fourth realm, heaven burning. Countless majestic and scorching flames suddenly erupted from Xiao Yan's body, purging the entire world. In that moment, the power of the flame mantra combined with the sacred flame seemed to thrust Xiao Yan into a truly unique realm. The entire sky was engulfed in flames, as if everything was under his control. Not bad. Your innate talent is impressive, the Xiao clan. I leave it to you. The booming laughter reverberated through the heavens and earth, and in that instant, the last breath of Xiao Tianyuan completely dissipated into the air. Farewell, ancestor. Only after mastering the fourth realm of the flame mantra did Xiao Yan respectfully bow to the sky, to the place where Xiao Tianyuan had vanished. He did not understand the profound mysteries of the so-called 9 reincarnations, but he would use his own strength to protect this world, to protect those he held dear. Yet, he also knew that beings like Xiao Tianyuan, with such special existence, were truly lost. Even if he reached the divine realm and ascended to a soul state, he might not be able to revive such an individual. His strength still remained at the 8th reincarnation stage, but combined with the current power of the flame mantra, sacred flame, and even the flame god's cauldron, Xiao Yan had become nearly invincible below the 9th reincarnation stage. Why would this supreme being, standing at the pinnacle of the great thousand worlds, die? Many questions still haunted Xiao Yan's mind. Since the flame god's cauldron has been retrieved, it's time to return to the boundless fire domain. The matters of the reincarnation sea must be pressing. There's little time left for me. After speaking, Xiao Yan's body trembled, and a complex crack appeared in the void. In the blink of an eye, he vanished from the spot. As Xiao Yan left, the world around him began to collapse at an observable rate, as if he had completed his final mission, sinking into the river of time. This heavenly domain indeed lives up to its name. Having just exited the abyss and entered the outer void, Xiao Yan helplessly shook his head as he watched the abyss crumble in an instant. Xiao Domain Lord, wait. Just as Xiao Yan was about to move, a dark figure appeared in the void, dragging a severely wounded body, its voice weak and faint. Attracted by the chilling voice from behind, Xiao Yan stopped his steps. There was something familiar about this voice, making him slowly halt. Who are you? Xiao Yan furrowed his brows and asked, looking at the dark figure hidden in the void. From the perception of his soul force, this person's aura was extremely weak and devoid of any evil energy, which was quite strange. Could this be a powerful being from the center of the human realm? Realizing this, Xiao Yan's expression grew serious. Though he was no longer afraid, if the person truly came from the center of the human realm, real battle to the death might be inevitable. It's me, from the palace of the Great Thousand. Lung Luochen. The void trembled, and a large silver mirror appeared. Behind it stood a blood-soaked figure. Palace of the Great Thousand. Demon-slaying King Lung Luochen? Xiao Yan released his soul force, confirming that this person's identity was without a doubt accurate. What happened? After a moment, Xiao Yan extended his hand to support the wounded figure, channeling pure power into the person's body, attempting to stabilize the one on the brink of death. The bloodstains on his chest and body were as large as arms, signs of intense injuries. Even Xiao Yan, despite his efforts, feared these wounds might be beyond saving. Who had been so ruthless? Xiao Domain Lord. The palace of the Great Thousand was completely wiped out by the new second evil god, Dark Sacred Emperor, and the third evil god, the evil god's Dark Queen. On the surface, they attacked with the evil army, but secretly, they used the power of the Dust World Divine Artifact to launch a surprise attack on the palace of the Great Thousand. The entire palace was caught off guard, and I was the only one who escaped. Everyone else, perished. Lung Luochen's expression was complex, as though he saw Xiao Yan as his last hope. His voice carried a profound sorrow. Palace of the Great Thousand destroyed? Xiao Yan's eyelids twitched violently. With the Palace of the Great Thousand's strength, where most of the demon-slaying kings were at the 5th to 7th reincarnation stages, and with a true 8th reincarnation stage powerhouse guarding it, such a powerful force had fallen so easily? The two evil gods' power was likely in the 8th reincarnation stage as well. How did you find this place? Xiao Yan asked, still shocked. In the moment of crisis, the Void Celestial Machine Mirror sensed your location, Domain Lord Xiao. This artifact, I gift it to you, hoping you can take vengeance for the Great Thousand World. I have wronged you in many ways. Forgive me. At this moment, Long Luochen smiled faintly, seemingly letting go of the resentment in his heart, accepting his fate. Where are they now? Long Luochen spoke weakly, his voice filled with despair. Xiao Domain Lord, end it. I've been tainted by evil energy, and I don't have much time left. Your strength should be used to deal with the extraterritorial evil gods. Good journey. I will protect this world for you. It's also helping myself. Xiao Yan had a good impression of Long Luochen and had intended to help him purge the evil energy, though it would come at a significant cost. However, after repeated requests from Long Luochen, Xiao Yan's eyes closed slightly. 9 colored flames surged out, transforming into a magnificent fiery sky that gently enveloped Long Luochen's body and soul. Thank you. In that moment, there was a deep sense of relief in Long Luochen's eyes. With the destruction of the Great Thousand Palace, he had used his last bit of strength to ask Xiao Yan for help. He could no longer face the powerful ones. Escaping or dying might be his only fate. After securing the coordinates of the Phoenix clan's new residence space from the Heavenly Mechanism realm, Xiao Yan's body surged and he headed directly into the void. At the same time, the full-scale war between the Great Thousand World and the extraterritorial evil clan had shaken the entire Great Thousand World. Places like the Great Thousand Palace were heavily attacked by the extraterritorial evil clan's army, suffering tremendous losses. In an instant, the entire Great Thousand World was plunged into a crisis. Within the Endless Flame Alliance and the Boundless Fire Domain, with Yao Ji, Xun'er, and the other mistresses at the helm, they took swift and decisive action the moment the war broke out. Using the vast intelligence network of the Endless Flame Alliance, they quickly identified many of the evil armies sent by the extraterritorial evil clan to invade the Great Thousand World. In this war, the extraterritorial evil clan deployed 18 of the 36 royal clans and 7 of the 17 sacred clans. 3 royal clans attacked the demon realm, and Little E led the Fire Sprite clan to support. 3 royal clans attacked the ghost realm, with Mu Yingying, Feng Wan'er, and Mu Feng heading there for reinforcement. 2 royal clans and 1 sacred clan attacked the celestial realm, with Yun Yun, the cold-blooded general, and the White Bone Elder providing support. 2 royal clans and 2 sacred clans attacked the monster realm, with Kai Lin going to assist. 3 royal clans attacked the Hell realm, with the hellish demon dragon leading reinforcements to repay a life-saving favor. 3 royal clans attacked the Buddhist realm, but since there was bad blood between them and the Buddhist realm, no one was sent for aid. 2 royal clans and 1 sacred clan, after annihilating the Great Thousand Palace, turned to attack the Phoenix clan. The remaining 3 sacred clans led the evil army to attack the Reincarnation Sea, while Xun'er and others gathered intelligence on the Reincarnation Sea, staying behind in the Boundless Fire Domain. As for other places like the Soul-Devouring Clan and Sword Domain, fierce battles were also underway. Boom! In a void, countless remnants of the Phoenix clan flickered in and out, falling like broken flowers and withered willows. At the center of the explosion, flames raged as numerous blazing fire phoenixes screamed out, causing the calm void to violently shake. In this massive battle, the searing heat of the flames and the destructive power seeping from them slowly distorted the surrounding void. Clan leader, several grand elders, an elderly man, his face filled with sorrow, begged the others, his voice choking with emotion. Leave. I will not abandon my clan and run away. The leader at the front, with a silent gaze, suddenly felt a sense of calm and release. Her eyes fixed on the outer explosion circle, her anger flaring like a volcano ready to erupt. We have no more retreat. Even if we run, where can we go? Clan leader, give the order. The few high-ranking Grand Elders exchanged looks and then solemnly declared, fight. Even if we die in battle, we will make these evildoers pay a heavy price. Phoenix Clan leader, the Endless Flame Alliance is now a powerful force. We should. Seeing the dire situation, some influential voices emerged. The Endless Flame Alliance that was formed by Xiao, a descendant of the Xiao clan. Back then, we, the Phoenix Clan, and the Dragon Clan helped them without hesitation. But when the calamity struck both clans, they only helped the Dragon Clan and left the Phoenix Clan out in the cold. Where does that leave us? Such ungrateful humans. We, the Phoenix Clan, will never ally with them, even if we have to die. My mind is made up. Attack. Swish swish. Scorching phoenix energy scattered everywhere. An ominous wave of energy slowly emanating. The strength of the Phoenix Clan had undergone a monumental change after their nirvana. Their clan leader, Feng Yi, had reached the half-step 8th reincarnation stage, and several of the Grand Elders were at the 6th or 7th reincarnation stage. Such terrifying power left one in awe. You old man, can you slow down a bit? The Phoenix Clan is in grave danger. We cannot afford to waste time. When did the famous devouring Spirit King suddenly become so concerned about the survival of the Phoenix Clan? Or is there some hidden truth here? As they spoke, the two of them instantly flew toward the Phoenix Clan. But at their speed, it seemed they would arrive just a step ahead of Xiao. In the void, there was still an eerie silence. The pitch-black void appeared to be wrapped in layers of viscous black gas, completely shrouding the area. In this quiet atmosphere, it seemed as though some danger was slowly approaching. Boom! Not long after, beams of light suddenly surged from the void, and two figures casually darted through the empty space, as if searching for something. Devouring Spirit King, are you sure the Phoenix Clan's new residence is here? Both figures exuded an extraordinary aura, with one, carrying a giant sword, shaking his head. According to the intel, this void should be their new base. Devouring Spirit King shook his head, his eyes narrowing as he stared at the dead silence of the void, unable to find the Phoenix Clan, which made him feel slightly uneasy. When the Outer Evil Clan's army attacked the Devouring Spirit Clan and Sword Domain, the two forces had joined together to repel them, and from their enemies, they had learned about the Phoenix Clan's situation. Without delay, they rushed here. Boom! With a deafening sound, a figure suddenly surged out of the dead void. So it's been sealed off by those guys. Let's go. They exchanged glances and immediately followed. Entering the void, what was once an empty space now turned into an ancient forest filled with a primeval atmosphere. Phoenix feathers scattered randomly, blood, and huge remnants of phoenix corpses could be seen everywhere. At the end of the forest, however, there was an unsettling black aura lurking. The palace of the Great Thousand has been destroyed by us. Now, the destruction of the Phoenix Clan is crucial. As long as we wipe out the Phoenix Clan, the leader of the Sacred Clan and the head of the Outer Realm will reward us generously. However, I must remind you, although the glory of the Phoenix Clan is no more, there are still strong warriors at the 7th and 8th reincarnation stages, and they are not to be underestimated. Among the crowd, a seductive woman in a silver gown spoke coldly, with no trace of emotion in her voice. Yes, Nether Queen. Upon hearing the words of the third evil god, Nether Queen, the royal clan experts all nodded in agreement, not daring to show any defiance. The woman in the gray robe exuded a lethal aura at all times. Her slender waist swayed, causing the entire world to darken slightly. The third evil god, Nether Queen, was at the half-step 8th reincarnation stage. The second evil god, Dark Sacred Emperor, was at the 8th reincarnation stage. Along with many royal clan experts at the 4th, 5th, and 6th reincarnation stages, as well as leaders from the Sacred Clan, the terrifying power of the half-step 8th reincarnation stage was more than enough to crush the current Phoenix Clan. However, my lady, This forest is filled with phoenix sacred flames. If we force our way in, it will be highly disadvantageous for us. One voice spoke from the crowd. We'll go anyway, because they have arrived. At that moment, the second evil god spoke softly, his gaze fixed on the phoenix shadows beginning to stir in the forest. Clan leader Feng, long time no see. How has the Phoenix clan been lately? With the appearance of the figure, the evil god Nether Queen slowly took a step forward, and an endless aura of evil and malice surged from beneath her gray gown, adding a thick layer of sinister energy to the surrounding space. Just defeated subordinates. Feng Luan-yi smiled softly, and the phoenix shadows around her immediately expanded, growing to hundreds of meters in size within moments, their momentum overwhelming, making people gasp in awe. In an instant, the entire forest was filled with an incredibly wild and sacred aura. There was no choice. If Feng Luan-yi and the others didn't show themselves, the few remaining phoenix bloodlines would likely be slaughtered to the last by these forces. Defeated subordinates? Ha ha ha. Without those few ninth-level supreme beings to defend them, how can the Phoenix clan even compare to the Dragon clan? Facing Feng Luan-yi's dismissive smile, the evil god Nether Queen sneered coldly. You. Upon hearing such insolence, Feng Luan-yi's subordinates from the Phoenix clan darkened, their expressions shifting between anger and unease. During the first battle of heaven and earth, while the Great Thousand Worlds barely managed to repel the Outer Evil Clan, at the final critical moment, the Outer Evil Clan's desperate tactics caused great turmoil across the Great Thousand Worlds. In the aftermath of the battle, the Outer Evil Clan suddenly dispatched countless sacred clan elites, attacking the super races without regard for their lives. The Dragon Clan and Phoenix Clan were the first targets. But just after the Battle of Heaven and Earth ended, the two super clans had already exhausted too much power, their forces severely weakened, and many of their experts were heavily injured, unable to resist the massacre of the sacred clan elites from the outer evil forces. At this time, the Xiao clan sent reinforcements to help the two clans. In that war, without the assistance of the Xiao clan, and relying only on the severely injured Phoenix clan, they nearly faced annihilation. If not for the efforts of the Grand Elders who, using the power of self-detonation and the sacred flame, managed to send the remaining Phoenix clan experts into the Phoenix Flame Crystal to sleep, the Phoenix clan would have been completely destroyed in that battle. Since then, the Phoenix clan's attitude towards the Xiao clan has been nothing but hostile. If you didn't have the strength, how could you have destroyed the palace of the Great Thousand? Or hunt down your Phoenix clan? At that moment, the second evil god, Dark Sacred Emperor, the third evil god, and the leader of the sacred clan stepped forward, their cold laughter echoing. Boom, boom, boom. Countless dark energies surged forth, and chaotic spatial turbulence filled the forest. Some of the weaker void areas were even twisted, with faint signs of explosions. Clash. One at the 8th reincarnation stage, and two at half-step 8th reincarnation stage? Among the crowd, two elders behind Feng Luan-yi, a man and a woman, looked at the three young figures with surprise, unable to stop themselves from gasping, their brows furrowing, and their faces darkening in an instant. Currently, the Phoenix clan's leader, Feng Luan-yi, had reached half-step 8th reincarnation stage. Feng Xian and Feng Xia had both reached the peak of the 7th reincarnation stage, while the remaining experts were around the half-step 7th reincarnation stage or 6th reincarnation stage. However, those powers were too weak, rendering them useless at this moment. Looking at this overwhelming force from the outer realms, it was clear these enemies had already calculated their victory. Destruction was likely just a matter of time. The Xiao clan. At this moment, figures from behind let out hoarse roars, filled with unbridled hatred. If not for the Xiao clan's betrayal back then, how could the Phoenix clan have fallen to this point? The Phoenix clan had paid an extremely heavy price to help the Xiao clan defeat the Outer Realms, only for the Xiao clan to be so ungrateful in return. What a disgraceful Xiao clan. Silence. There are many uncertainties about this matter. Do not speak recklessly. Elder Feng Xian's face darkened as he directly questioned the figures behind them. Elder Feng Xian, with things having come to this point, Is it still necessary to protect the Xiao clan? The master of the 9 mystical flames and the Xiao clan are cut from the same cloth. Elder Feng Xiao moved slightly, a trace of madness filling her eyes. I will step in to hold off the dark sacred emperor and the evil god's dark queen. Elder Feng Xian, Elder Feng Xia, leave the rest to you. The survival of the Phoenix clan depends on you. Kill. As the words fell, the entire forest was filled with a whirlwind. The heavens and earth changed color, and the combatants clashed fiercely. Despite the intensity of the battle, no one in the great thousand worlds could detect what was happening. After all, this invasion from the outer realms was well prepared. The entire realm, the forest, rapidly darkened. Demonic energy surged, and an evil, chilling presence spread, making the faces of the Phoenix clan's experts change slightly. This battle was extraordinary, one of life and death. Leader, be careful. The strength of these 2 evil gods is far more terrifying than that of the sacred clan expert. Seeing this, Elder Feng Xian and Elder Feng Xia's serious gazes focused on the cracked ground beneath their feet, where a great danger surged. In an instant, the sky was filled with the harsh sounds of battle as the strong from both sides collided. Aside from the high-ranking leaders who remained unmoved, the entire world descended into chaos. Darkness. As Feng Luan-yi swiftly selected her warriors, the evil figures led by the dark, sacred emperor couldn't help but sneer. They were well prepared. Even the palace of the Great Thousand had fallen to their hands. The Phoenix clan would be no different. Their goal was clear: to hunt down and annihilate the many races of the Great Thousand Worlds. Once they succeeded, the Outer Realm army would descend, and this entire realm would fall under their control. With just one person's strength, you cannot hold me back. After a brief exchange, Feng Luan-yi, her expression graceful, stood surrounded by endless phoenix shadows. Her tone was dismissive. Clearly, despite only having half-step 8th reincarnation stage power, her combat abilities were enough to rival those of a true 8th reincarnation stage expert. Sacred Evil Lord, lead the others and wipe out the remaining remnants of the Phoenix clan. This leader, leave her to us. Facing this situation, the Dark Sacred Emperor sneered and, alongside the evil god's Dark Queen, struck together. With a wave, their terrible powers collided with Feng Luan-yi, sending shockwaves of unimaginable force through the air. The Dark Sacred Emperor, ruthless and unforgiving, showed no mercy, fully intent on ensuring Feng Luan-yi's fall. The Phoenix clan's leader, possessing both sacred flame and extraordinary combat prowess, was a formidable foe. To be absolutely sure of their victory, they had decided to join forces to obliterate her. At that moment, the great battle between the 2 sides erupted in full force. The immense might of the Dark Sacred Emperor at the 8th reincarnation stage spread outward, his withered hand emerging from his black robe, shimmering with a terrifying black light. It seemed as though with a mere wave, the entire world would be engulfed. Go! After a moment of concentration, the Dark Sacred Emperor roared, his hand stretching out from the darkness. A fierce, evil wind swept across the sky, before reaching for Feng Luan-yi's head. With just a single strike, the void shattered, and the energy of heaven and earth instantly dissipated. If Feng Luan-yi was hit, she would likely perish in that instant. Nirvana Phoenix Flame. Faced with such a terrifying force unleashed by the Dark Sacred Emperor, Feng Luan-yi's expression grew serious. Golden, divine flames enveloped her body. The flames danced, transforming into a sea of phoenix feathers that swept across the sky, covering the heavens and the earth. As these phoenix feathers, infused with sacred flame, spread, the void sealed by the outer realms slightly loosened, and the evil power rapidly dissipated. Nether, heaven blood slaughter. Seeing Feng Luan-yi's display, the evil god's Dark Queen sneered. Countless evil energies surged from her body, transforming into a towering black shadow that loomed in the heavens. On the black shadow, countless malevolent patterns swirled, and her cold, unfeeling gaze was like that of the true Grim Reaper descending, merciless and indifferent. The 2 evil gods struck at once, their power shaking the entire void. Many powerful figures in the area were filled with fear. The ultimate attacks of these two evil gods, no matter how much power Feng Luan-yi, the clan leader, could unleash, were not something she could fully resist. To them, the situation now seemed like a futile struggle on the verge of death. Binding heaven. Phoenix feathers. As more and more phoenix feathers appeared, Feng Luan-yi seized the opportunity. Before the two evil gods could strike, she acted first. With a loud cry, countless golden feathers rose from the ground and the forests, sweeping toward the evil god's dark queen with the force of a thunderstorm. This is bad. In an instant, the previously calm evil god Dark Queen's beautiful eyes filled with shock and fear. While the power wasn't as terrifying as a destructive force, the suppression it exerted was formidable. The 14th-ranked divine artifact of the human realm, the binding heaven phoenix feathers, the power of suppression. Looking at the evil god Dark Queen, who was now trapped and unable to resist, the dark sacred emperor chuckled. His eyes narrowed as he observed Feng Luan-yi. This move was unexpected, but it only sealed one evil god, and it wouldn't change the current situation. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Having completed this move, Feng Luan-yi's chest heaved violently. A mixture of golden blood and sacred flames flowed from her back. The previous strike had been powerful, but it consumed too much of her strength, and she couldn't use it again. Sealing one evil god. How can it change the inevitable destruction? Dark sacred rite. Blood liberation. Boom. In an instant, the dark sacred emperor's body erupted like a fountain, with countless streams of power pouring out, covering both of their bodies. Clearly, he was done holding back, determined to completely erase them. A bunch of filthy creatures. At that moment, Feng Xian and Feng Xiao, the two elders, exchanged glances. A terrifying wave of power surged from them, but no matter how violently they unleashed their force, it was still suppressed by the evil power before them. A rare sense of danger and despair filled their hearts. Was the Phoenix clan truly going to be destroyed here? Feng Luan-yi, it's over. The Phoenix clan will completely vanish from this world starting today. Poof! With a cold snort, from within the black orb, Feng Luan-yi's delicate body trembled uncontrollably before being sent flying backward. Even without the evil god Dark Queen's help, she was simply no match for the Dark Sacred Emperor. The gap in power was too great. The Dark Sacred Emperor's killing intent, as cold as ice, spread throughout the entire world. A black stone, like a beating heart, emerged, pulsing with an intense, evil energy. The very air seemed to freeze under its gaze, and the already turbulent world became even more chaotic. Phoenix spiral to the 9 heavens. In that moment, severely wounded, Feng Luan-yi smiled bitterly, but behind the forced smile was a determined killing intent. Her body shimmered, and a massive phoenix figure, several dozen meters tall, appeared behind her, its wings aflame with sacred fire, blood dripping from her body and into the sacred flames. Clan leader, please don't. Seeing their leader's self-sacrificial act, the hearts of the Phoenix clan warriors trembled. A deep sorrow welled up inside them. Don't go. Only by doing this can we protect the last of the Phoenix bloodline. We, the current Phoenix elders, are the sinners of the Phoenix clan. You, the younger generation, must carry on our bloodline. At this moment, Feng Xian and the other high-ranking elders of the Phoenix clan were also engulfed in a radiant glow, their power surging violently. Amid the weighty matters of life and death, at the far edge of the void seal, endless scorching flames suddenly erupted. Within this surge, there was not only the sacred flame but also a terrifying ripple from an entity at the 8th reincarnation stage. Who goes there? The dark sacred emperor, who was about to unleash his decisive strike, felt a wave of unease upon seeing the flames rising in the distance. The one who could break their void seal must be no ordinary foe. The flames swirled, and a divine aura suddenly appeared within the darkness-shrouded void. Several figures rushed toward them at incredible speed. The Endless Flame Alliance. Mistress Xun'er? Patriarch of the Devouring Spirit Clan? Master of the Sword Domain? Is it you? Seeing this, Feng Xian spoke first, his voice filled with joy, unable to calm down. With their help, the Phoenix clan's crisis could be averted. This is an internal matter of our Phoenix clan. There's no need for... Even as the three appeared, Feng Luan Yi hesitated for a moment before speaking. The Phoenix clan, by nature, was noble and pure. Xun'er, as the mistress of the Endless Flame Alliance, was of the same lineage as Xiao Yan. Now that the Phoenix clan was hostile to the Xiao clan, even if they were to die in battle, they would not easily accept help from the latter. However, in her heart, she was conflicted. After all, the matter concerning the Xiao clan was based on hearsay, with no one having witnessed the truth firsthand. Moreover, the Phoenix clan's experts here were the last bloodline in the world. As the clan leader, Feng Luan Yi, of course, hoped to see the Phoenix clan's bloodline continue, even if it meant shouldering numerous accusations. Senior Feng, you're mistaken. Xun'er smiled slyly, clearly aware of the Phoenix clan's situation. However, without sufficient evidence, the matter concerning the 9 mystical flames master and the Xiao clan was still inconclusive. We are not helping you. We are helping the Great Thousand Worlds. The master of the sword domain and the devouring spirit king exchanged a glance, then laughed. The master of the sword domain, at the peak of the 7th reincarnation stage, the devouring spirit king, at the 8th reincarnation stage, and Xun'er, who had just entered the 6th reincarnation stage. Then let's die together. Darkness. Seeing this scene, the dark sacred emperor also felt a bit troubled. However, a cold glow suddenly surged from his sinister eyes, and he slowly licked the corner of his mouth, like a madman preparing to unleash his strongest killing moves. Master of the sword domain, the evil god's dark queen is about to break the seal. She's yours to handle. The remaining experts should deal with the sacred evil lord and his band of evil minions. I'll personally take care of this one. The devouring spirit king sneered, the fiery aura around him intensifying. We'll work together and kill him quickly. Although there was still some dissatisfaction in their hearts, at this moment of racial crisis, Feng Luan Yi could only temporarily set aside personal grudges. Agreed. With that, they wasted no time. A vast force of reincarnation surged, scattering through the sky. Devouring seal. The devouring spirit king, leading the charge, raised his arm and called out. A dazzling flame handprint materialized from thin air, containing a terrifying, heart-shaking power. With a powerful thrust of his hands, the void shook, and the entire world seemed to stir. Rip! The dark, sacred emperor, with his shriveled and cold palm, struck through the air. The devouring spirit king's terrifying strike was suddenly obliterated, vanishing into nothingness. After performing this act, the dark sacred emperor's aura darkened and sinister. Malevolent footprints appeared beneath his feet, crawling with a vile, dark energy. These footprints were irregular, but as the dark sacred emperor moved, the vast evil power surging from them ruthlessly destroyed everything in its path. The devouring spirit king and Feng Luan Yi's faces darkened. We can't let him continue like this. Feng Luan Yi gritted her teeth, her eyes flashing with the sacred and pure phoenix flame. In an instant, the entire void was mercilessly trampled by the black footprints. Any life form that was touched by them was easily devoured. The dark footprints expanded, and the terrifying signs of them consuming the very heavens and earth could vaguely be seen. Faced with such a tragic situation, a special power flickered in the center of the devouring spirit king's forehead. He then snorted coldly, flame-swallowing technique. Flame Divine Palace. His voice was cold as his body grew taller, and with the activation of this combat technique, his strength soared to the peak of the 8th reincarnation stage. A majestic Flame Divine Palace even appeared in his mind. With his hands clasped together, he quickly formed seals. His fingers touched the void, and towering flame palaces materialized in the air. These palaces formed a magnificent, imposing hall of confinement. Above the palaces, endless fiery red flames rose, divine, grand, and inviolable, elevating him to the status of a ruler above the heavens. Trying to deceive me. Faced with the devouring spirit king, whose attack was empowered by the flame-swallowing technique. The dark sacred emperor's deep, profound gaze flickered slightly. A subtle, mysterious creature slowly emerged from within. The dark creature lay in ambush in the void, its vigilant eyes staring toward the distant Flame Divine Palace. Though the void was now beautifully adorned with the Flame Divine Palace, the shadowy creature, born from the Dark Saint Seal, was surrounded by an immense sense of danger. The Divine Palace will crumble and fall. The devouring Spirit King held nothing back. With a heavy press of his palm against the void below, the Flame Divine Palace suddenly shattered, collapsing like a meteor shower, tilting downward in a cascade of destruction. In an instant, the evil energy throughout the void was rapidly eliminated. Some of the weaker evil forces were completely obliterated by the attack. The flames of the Divine Palace, the holy remnants, carried overwhelming power as they surged forward, killing the evil forces. At the same time, they enhanced the strength of the Phoenix clan and others, nourishing their battered bodies. Ah! A mournful, sorrowful scream echoed endlessly through the world. Such a terrifying attack from the devouring Spirit King instantly wiped out half of the evil army. What a bunch of useless fools! Watching the army below, which was on the brink of destruction under the devouring Spirit King's semi-god-level combat technique, the dark sacred emperor's expression grew more frenzied. His face, burned by flames, twisted into an even more hideous grimace. The evil forces he had sent to annihilate the devouring Spirit Clan and the Sword Domain were so weak that they couldn't withstand even a single blow. Worse still, they had given away their location. A grave miscalculation. Dark evil spirit, show yourself. Devour everything in this world. All the creatures here will become your purest power. Ha 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 ha. The dark sacred emperor sneered and then curled his palm into a claw, fiercely striking toward his chest. Black evil blood scattered across the void, eerily arranging itself into patterns, shaking as if some strange creature was crossing the bounds of time and space, rushing toward them. Within the bizarre blood formation, the sounds of cracking mirrors rang out, and from within the blood formation, a massive creature bathed in black flames slowly emerged.